Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Steve's Wrestling Ramble. This week, I will be going over reviewing WWE Roadblock, talking about Raw, a little bit of news for the show, not near the end. Now, it won't be too long of an episode, but Thursday I will be doing a Talking Package with Steve episode. Um, I was going to do politics, but I decided to do NFL with everything the free agency frenzy and the start of the new league year last week. And I wasn't able to do an episode that week due to circumstances. But I'm here now this week, back and better than ever, and here for this show and my other show. But like I said, for this one, Steve's Wrestling Ramble, there's a lot to discuss on WWE with what happened at Roadblock. I thought Roadblock was a lot better than most thought. For a show that was just thrown together, a show that just was put together for March and put, as a live event. Really, that's what it was, just a better dressed up live event, so to speak. I still thought that maybe there could be a swerve, there could be something big, maybe a return. I thought maybe a Sting appearance, maybe between the Bray Wyatt Brock Lesnar match that I thought was supposed to be 1-on-1. I don't know if I missed or didn't get the email or missed the memo of it being turned into a handicap match, but I thought if it was going to be what it intended to be, 1-on-1 Brock Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt, maybe Sting would come. Uh, and then we have Sting versus Bray Wyatt for WrestleMania. Have something for Bray Wyatt. You guys know I'm not be the biggest fan of Bray's, but with the injuries, the plethora of injuries at this moment, and also Titus O'Neil being suspended and missing WrestleMania, it behooved Bray Wyatt in some sort of situation and not just put in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal or something to that extent, something grander, something better. Um, but we'll see how that plays out. But I thought that was going to happen first off. Then Triple H versus Dean Ambrose for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in event. Thought maybe there was a chance that my guy Dean Ambrose would win the title, shake things up, have a fatal four-way at WrestleMania for the title, involving Brock Lesnar, maybe something different. I always hope for that, hope for swerves, hope for things to change, hope for things to be shaken up, shake things up and make things a little bit more interesting than how this WrestleMania is looking so far. Not saying that the card is bad, the WrestleMania card. I just think that it's left, to be desired. There's more opportunity for them to make it better. Maybe the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal can actually mean something and actually be actually a good match, but mean something for whoever who wins it. The last 2 years it was Cesaro and the Big Show winning it. Nothing really happening for either of them. You thought with the first one, with when Cesaro won it, excuse me, but when Cesaro won it, you thought maybe, from there he could actually give him a push, give him a momentum. In fact, it actually didn't do anything, or anything, at least nothing significant for his career after winning that. And then the Big Show winning it, that could have been just WWE creative saying, "Hey, Big Show, you can win this," kind of as a token or whatever. And him being the Big Show, formerly the Giant in WCW, being like Andre the Giant in that way. But that's just on that. Let me welcome someone who just stopped by here. Welcome, Angry Cooter, to the show. He is the host of Main Event Marks every Wednesday evening, starting at 9
And
p.m.
social assassin in the building. Thanks for having me, cop. How you living?
Good. How are you?
Much better. See, I took the reef down.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna keep that a year round.
Ugh, I couldn't stand to look at it no more. Plus, one day I actually opened up that door,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a bat flying around in there. It was hiding out in my Christmas wreath all the way in fucking February. It's terrible. But anyway, I'm sorry. Continue on. What were we discussing here?
I was just finishing up talking about actually the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I was first talking about the card for WrestleMania, how I think it behooved WWE to make it better. You have a plethora of injuries. Maybe Bray Wyatt actually putting him in something better than just the Andre Memorial. Battle Royal, and that led me into talking about the past two winners. Now maybe if Bray Wyatt is put in that situation, maybe they have him win it, and it actually means something for one. So Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner, after the fact, actually, you know, it meaning something, and him then that superstar getting a push. What are your thoughts?
You know what that match is to me? Well, what it really is what that match is to Vince. As Virgil would like to say, that's that F money match. That's just so guys who don't actually have a program or a match on a card can actually get a paycheck and be on the pay per view. It is a piss break at best. If it's a little bit longer this year, maybe I might be able to take a dump during it because I really don't care about it. The fact that we've had Cesaro win, get no push, and then we have the Big Show, who's done more jobs than the Job Squad as a whole, win it the next year, just to continue on to do more jobs. It makes absolutely no sense to me. We need to get rid of this match. It is pointless. It is stupid. And unless you make it relevant and make it worth the while to watch with some sort of prize other than a stupid trophy that nobody ever gets to keep, you can keep that match to yourself there, Vinnie Mac. That's what I got to say about that. Would you agree with that or what?
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. Now that we're 2 years in, two WrestleManias with that. Now, when it first came up, when it was the inaugural Under the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, when that was announced, I thought, hey, this could be something good. This could be a new staple for WrestleMania. I mean, the Money in the Bank ladder match was a staple for WrestleMania until it became its own pay-per-view and became as popular. And as I've said in the past, to show that a pay-per-view that could be one, you know, surpass Survivor Series as the top four. But in regards to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, when it first was brought to WWE to WrestleMania, I thought it could have good potential. It could be a new staple. It could give someone the start of a push or a continuance of a push they already were on. But now 2 years into it, I kind of agree with you in that way that in your thought process of it being meaningless, and until they do make it mean something, then why should we care as fans and spectators about it if Vince McMahon and our creative's not going to care themselves?
Yeah, I mean, I like the analogy that the Money in the Bank kind of took on a life for itself, got its own pay per view. I mean, we're not going to see that ever happen with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal because we already have a Royal Rumble, so to speak. And that being said, I don't see it going anywhere. And again, it's 2 years in. It is pointless. I mean, they should have given it to Big Show the first time around as a tribute, so to speak, to Andre, even though he was in the final two, I believe, right? If I'm not mistaken. But I mean, it was cool to see Cesaro win it, and then we're all thinking he's in line for this big push because I mean he's super over with the crowd. No matter how much Vince says he doesn't connect, we still want to bury him because he's not homegrown talent.
And then previously to that, I was talking about the WrestleMania card in general. What are your thoughts on how things are shaping up now that the picture has become more clear of what WrestleMania is going to be in the card shaping up?
I'm supremely disappointed. I am. I had hopes that maybe this house show Roadblock could have maybe thrown us a swerve for the card, and instead we're getting what was promised, a house show that in the end meant absolutely nothing, and a house show that had one good match on there, and the rest were piss poor. Meanwhile, down in Atlantic City, they're getting AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens for the IC belt. They're getting better matches. It's crazy now that I didn't realize that they were doing separate house shows. I'm actually going to a house show on Saturday in White Plains, and it's a B side. You know what my main event is?
What is it?
Bray Wyatt versus Kane.
Mhm.
So this is how we're splitting up our roster to try to make more road money, and we're making this network special worthless, which could have really changed the face of WrestleMania. It could have actually uh, gotten more attention to it, make people more interested in it. Because I mean, the feeling that I'm getting from a lot of the marks is that there's nothing on this card that makes you say, I want to see it. I mean, we have Triple H versus Roman Reigns, and they've tried everything under the sun to try to get him over. It ain't working. Vince, just because they cheered him in one Royal Rumble does not mean they want to see him as a main event star. And they cheered him because, better him than Batista. That's the only reason Roman Reigns got cheered. Let's be honest. What else do we got on this card? Oh, yes. The New Day versus the League of Nations, the hottest tag team in the world right now. I don't care what anybody tells you, which is now being watered down with bullshit promos and baloney, up against the League of Nations, a bunch of scrubs that Vince has nothing better to do with. Now that Sheamus has run his course as a transition champion, let's throw him in I don't know, a tag team match with a bunch of bums who we also have no programs for, a la Rusev and, uh, you know, Bad News Barrett or King Barrett or whatever the hell he's going by this week. I feel so bad for Del Rio right now. I really do. Because here he is getting this giant push as he comes back against John Cena, only to be stuck in the stable of nobodies. What else do we got on the match, on the card there, Cop? Oh, yes. Chris Jericho versus AJ Styles Part 4. Yeah, love it. The only thing that I'm curious is who the hell is going to face Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. And you know what? It's not going to be one person. It's going to be a huge ladder match because we have to have a ladder match at WrestleMania. So, I mean, there's really nothing on this card that makes me, like, interested. You know what the sad part is? There
Hmm.
is one match, and they're going to get 5 minutes. You know what match that is?
A Divas title triple threat.
That's correct. I want to see that match, and I have this giant feeling that they're going to get no time.
Yeah, because they're for as smart as creative tries to be, they just can't make especially for WrestleMania, you have ample amount of time to be able to space out your matches and have the right amount of matches, give them the right amount of time, so all of them can make it. And I have a feeling that they should give this one more priority, give them more time. I would say 15-20 minute match for the women, show their stuff and how good they are as athletes. But I agree with you. I have a fear that because of time constraints or depending where it is on the card, that another match is going to go over and they're just going to have to be cut on time. Or what happened a couple of years ago where the Divas match was cut altogether. That wasn't one and that was highly profiled and looking forward to, but still
Yep.
it was cut. So I don't want that to happen here. You have another
Oh,
Divas match that's going to be at
oh,
WrestleMania.
good. You're absolutely right. Let's rewind that. I mean, the women, the women's division in NXT changed the face of professional wrestling in WWE. There's been more respect for the ladies, Becky, Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Paige. Hell, we can throw Bailey in there. I mean, even Emma. You got girls like Asuka down there. I mean, girls who are putting on better matches 9 times out of 10 than some of the guys in NXT. So we all were hoping for this big giant revolution, and we got half of what we expected. This is how they can make it worthwhile if they give these ladies the time. But you know damn well that ain't happening. It ain't happening, Cop. I feel bad for them too.
Because they deserve better. But then there's the other side of the flip side. I could argue for the Divas Revolution is that we can't get everything all at once. The Asukas and others, and Emma, who's been showing some things, Alexa Bliss and others, in NXT, so they can have their time to shine, have their moments there, and then come onto the main roster um, when others retire that are on the main roster now. So this whole Divas Revolution is not going to happen all at once. In time, in stages, is really, in my opinion, in stages. Then we really have a bright future for the women's division in the main roster. We just gotta maybe pump our brakes a little bit with wanting everything all too fast. But this is a good step forward with this Divas title match triple threat between Charlotte, uh, Charlotte, Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. A good start to that. but you gotta stage your steps, and then when the others come to the main roster, they get part of the mix. And Tamina Snukas and others that get out of there, then we'll have a bigger and better women's division on the main roster.
So you bring up Tamina, and I've made a somewhat internet splash, at least in my own mind, of making fun of Tamina. I've called her a mix between Nicole Bass and Samoa Nicole Bass and China. I have. Uh, I'm starting to like her in the ring. I don't know why. I mean, she utilizes her size very well. She doesn't, overplay her hand. She knows her role. Plays a great character. I I've made fun of the poor woman for years, and right as I'm actually starting to, I don't want to say like her, but like tolerate her, so to speak.
All right, have respect for her, yeah.
Yeah, and I realize she's getting up there in age, and chances are she might not be around very much longer.
And then there's the also the fourth fight ticket of another Divas match that's going to be part of WrestleMania. Team Brie Bella and Team Lana to have a match. Now that one, if to be cut, that's fine. I don't
Oh,
really have any interest in that one at all.
if they were to cut one of those two matches, Cop, which one do you think they would cut?
The Team Brie and Team Lana match, because the Divas title match, you have no excuse to cut that one.
Yeah, you kind of do, even though I don't agree with it. I almost feel like they would cut that titles match because they're
Well,
afraid that it would steal the show.
hmm
Two, um, it's Brie Bella's, potential, goodbye WrestleMania. I mean, we have to give her a nice send off. We have to put her on the. That's almost what I'm afraid of, and I could really see that happening. I really hope it doesn't, but I mean, knowing the way that WWE is booked, I wouldn't be surprised if a women's title match got put to the pre-show or cut altogether, just because you know fear, fear of an actual match that could steal the show. And they've done that. I mean, we've had pre-show matches. I remember a pre-show. I think it was one of Rob Van Dam's first, and I think it was a match against Alberto Del Rio on a pre-show, and that match was incredible. And I remember watching it at a Buffalo Wild Wings, and I'm telling you, it was the match of the night because nothing else grabbed my attention the whole night. And why, why not? I mean, you want people to enjoy your pay-per-views, don't you? You would think.
Yeah, you would hope people to buy it. But yeah, I could see your point there, moving the title match there and giving the reasoning behind it to say that we're gonna have one of our biggest matches first, to get the party started for WrestleMania, so to speak, however they word it. And then the other match that we have not yet discussed here for WrestleMania on the card: Shane O'Mac, Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker, Hell in a Cell for control of Monday Night Raw. Uh, with everything that happened on Raw last night between The Undertaker, Shane, and Vince, I think that could have been a little bit better. I mean, Shane, he still, he just came back, so you can't really expect him to be excellent on the mic. But uh, again, Vince and The Undertaker, nothing really was, what moved forward with the storyline. Undertaker really never explained himself yet. I don't know if they're holding back to do that or if they don't plan to do it at all. They'll just have the match and not have an explanation for that reasoning, kayfabe wise, why The Undertaker's working for Vince. But just on the surface, what are your thoughts heading into this Shane Undertaker match?
You ready for this?
Hmm.
What am I about to do? Watch this. Ready? What did I just do there?
Roll your eyes.
Yeah, and I wasn't paying homage to the fucking Undertaker. I was not. No. This whole thing has gotten away from them, and I really do not like it. I mean, Shane O'Mac pulled a Sid Vicious when he cut that promo and made himself look like an absolute fool. You remember the promo where he was talking about Kevin Nash and WCW back in the day, where it was, I'm only half as dumb as I look. where he meant to
Hmm.
say something else, and that was Shane. I'm gonna hit you, and I'm gonna wait, no, you're you're wait a minute. Yeah, no. You ready for the finish? I could tell you exactly what's gonna happen
Okay, go ahead.
because he's playing as Vince McMahon's bitch. Is the whole thing, right? So here's what's gonna happen. They're gonna have a match. Shane will have a little bit of a rally, and the Undertaker is gonna beat the ever living piss out of him, tombstone him, get ready to pin him, and lay down and pull Shane over him. That's what's gonna happen. Bet me. Because yes, I beat the crap out of your son, and now I'm giving him control of your company because I'm not your bitch. I proved my point, and I'm just gonna screw you over. I could see that happening. That would actually be kind of cool. That would be a very good way out because Shane McMahon looks terrible. Those punches that he threw last week,
And then this week, yeah.
this week, oh my god! I was like, Shane, please put the pistol in your mouth and pull multiple times. Or, as I like to say, fix yourself a glass sandwich, extra onions, bon appetit, my friend.
WWE and Vince McMahon, they always like to poke fun at WCW, whether it's, Sting not going over Triple H last year at WrestleMania, where I thought that was not best for business at all. So I can see the finish of the match at all just being a finger, that finger poke of doom or whatever that was called between Hogan and Nash in WCW, where maybe not exactly like it, but you know what I mean. Where it's not even
No,
you don't even have a match. You just have the Undertaker lie down for Shane, and Undertaker just giving F you to Vince the
yeah,
same way you're doing it, but mine it being in a quicker way where it's like
you know what the difference is,
8 second match like the
I
Daniel
hate
Bryan
to cut you off.
match.
I have to do this though. The reason the finger poke of doom was a classic failure was because of what the payoff was supposed to be. It never happened because Goldberg got hurt. It was supposed to be a rematch with Hogan versus Goldberg. Would have been the end game. But Goldberg, the glass legs that he had, or whatever the hell his problem was back then, I mean, got injured again. So, I mean, at least if you book that the same way and there's a payoff where it would make sense because what they did made no sense because they couldn't do what they wanted to do. Hopefully, Shane doesn't die during the match and can come back on Raw and maybe run things if they do a potential screw you Vince job.
Yeah, I mean that'd be nice. I think either way though, the way that things have gone, at least last few weeks, it's looking toward that. Shane's going to win, come hell or high water. That he's going to get the W. Whether it's people running in, I know people were talking about whether it's in the Marks group or other places I've read. I know people thinking that there's going to have to be a lot of run-ins to make this WrestleMania better, and that being the match where that happens. Talking like maybe Bray Wyatt or Sting or Kurt Angle out of nowhere. Shane and Kurt had a past, but something like that. I don't see that happening. I think it's just going to be mano a mano, and Shane, I think Shane somehow gets the win, whether it's your way you booked it, or my way, or they actually have a match and he jumps off the top of the cell on the Undertaker or something. Actually have moments like that actually put on a good match because I think they could.
Let me ask you this because you brought up Sting not winning against Triple H not being very good for business. You know why I would disagree with that?
Why?
I would agree with it if Sting was going to be a full time employee or at least do Monday Night Raws and show up and have programs after the fact. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not saying the guy's got to, show up and do house shows and have matches every week. But, I mean, if he was going to be sticking around and actually having some kind of say in what's going on, then yeah. But, I mean, what's the point of Triple H jobbing to Sting for one match? What's the payoff?
Oh, you're saying okay, so it wouldn't have made sense to you, if it goes like the way it is, Sting not being on shows anyways, that it just would have been dumb.
Yeah. What would have happened if he won? We've been like, all right, thanks. I got revenge for WCW 10 some odd years ago, whatever it was. Yeah, it doesn't really work for me. I mean, people read too much into these storylines. I mean, yeah, there should be a payoff, but in that case, I really just don't see one, and I think that's why it was booked the way it was. I mean, they had you know a great 2 minutes, and then we had 20 minutes for the run-ins, and you know they gave us a show. I mean, that's all that was supposed to be, was a show. So I mean, you know,
Yeah, it was more for marks or fans like me, the Attitude Era, the past, with those run-ins with the NWO and DX and everything, and the whole still WWE versus WWE kind of way that they kind of built it to that match, which then should have made you think that Triple H was going to win in the end with that premise. Um, but anyways, back on topic of WWE Roadblock. I was also finishing up talking about my thoughts on Roadblock and everything. How I thought that maybe WWE should have shook things up. It's not a bad thing to shake things up. Have Dean Ambrose win the title. Have a fatal four-way or triple threat. Have that kind of shake up. Or if you actually had what you said you're going to have, a Bray Wyatt versus Brock Lesnar one-on-one match instead of it turning into a handicap match, and maybe you again, bringing up Sting. Maybe you have set up Sting versus Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt can actually have something to do for WrestleMania other than the Andre Memorial Battle Royal thing.
so he's definitely in that.
No, I'm just thinking that that's what WWE's going to do because he doesn't have anything right now. No, it's not confirmed. I'm just saying it doesn't seem
But
like
I
he's
don't
going to
understand
be in
either,
a
Bob.
program.
That's what drives me absolutely bonkers. Is all right. Why were we protecting Bray Wyatt against Brock Lesnar? There's got to be something coming for him. But I mean, why protect him at a house show for no reason? It just was like, huh? Vince Russo's back, huh?
Yeah, especially if it's not going to pay off anything for WrestleMania. If it's something that they're just going to come back to when we get to Money in the Bank or something too far down the line, where it's like, why'd you even then have that moment? But what were your overall thoughts on WWE Roadblock, and if you really thought that Ambrose had any chance of winning the title?
I think he did have a chance of winning the title. Um, it would have been a nice little surprise. I think a lot of the fans would have enjoyed it because I don't think anybody's really too invested in Roman Reigns versus Triple H. I mean, it's gonna be. Listen, Triple H can have a great match with a broomstick. Let's be honest, but I mean, I think that match with the broomstick might be better than one with Roman Reigns because I can't get behind him, and it's not that I want to be, you know, joining in with the crowd. He just doesn't do anything for me. I mean, one week he's smiling, grinning ear to ear, cracking on Stephanie, and the next week he's just, getting his ass whooped, and then he comes back and he's this ferocious monster. It's like, can we give this guy one character? You know, let's not make him so complicated. Let's not make him so, you know, multifaceted or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's complicated. He can't cut a promo. Now you want him to cut promos three different ways. It's like, let him stick to one thing and get good at it.
Yeah, and I was going to move right into Raw. Not much really to talk about with Raw other than the main event situation with Triple H and Roman Reigns for Triple H's promo dissing the fans. That was kind of funny actually. He is still one of the best at heel promos. But trying his best, trying WWE trying their darndest, trying to get Roman Reigns over, trying to get to the point where fans might actually cheer for him if he wins the title at WrestleMania to be conquering the Authority. I still don't see that happening. That's why I also think WrestleMania should end with Shane Undertaker match instead of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. Because if you end with the championship match and Reigns wins, and you have a 100,000 plus or 70,000 plus fan base there booing their asses off, against Roman Reigns, that's not going to
They're
look
always booing
good
in Texas at the
for
end of
WWE.
Manias. What was it, 17 where Austin turned heel against The Rock in the Astrodome in Houston?
Mm-hmm.
Forget it. They'll never live that down. I've never heard a crowd boo so loud, but you know what? We're in store for Roman Reigns getting booed out of the building in front of 100,000 people. Tell me how his morale is going to be after that. I've never prayed for John Cena to ever come back. and this might be the reason why, because at least he can have a match. At least he can cut a promo. Oof, did I just say that? I might have to put the gun in my mouth, cop. And that being said, my phone is about to die, so thanks for having me. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, brother. Have a good night.
You too, man. Take care.
Bye.
And that was Cooter, Angry Cooter from Main Event Marks, host of that show. I'm on there every week. Tomorrow, Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Start, not Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Start to check us out on Facebook and Facebook fan page, Main Event Marks. Welcome to find this show on Facebook, Steve's Wrestling Ramble, and on Twitter at WBNCR Podcast. You can find him, Cooter, on Twitter at angry underscore Cooter, and Main Event Marks at main event underscore Marks. Not much else to talk about from everything that we talked about between me and Cooter. Raw, WWE Roadblock, and the lights announcements for my WrestleMania shows. I'm going to have a guest co-host and hopefully a plethora, a bunch of other guests to be part of that episode. So that episode's gonna be pretty awesome. Not just because of having the people, but everybody being on their A game and talking WrestleMania. This is one of the best times of the year to be a WWE fan with Road to WrestleMania, and for new subscribers to the WWE Network, you get WrestleMania for free. Hashtag free WrestleMania. So definitely welcome to follow me on Twitter and do live tweets during Raws and pay-per-views. Or at least I was more vigilant in that in the past, but I hope to do that better moving forward. And hope you guys all have a great rest of your evening. Let me know what you thought, my thoughts, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. And as always, take care.